Hey everyone, Iron Leprechaun coming back at you with another video of how we take the 12 steps of recovery, whether it's drugs, alcohol, sex, gambling, food, all these things, and applying them to everyday life. So that means anybody, you don't have to be an addict to benefit from this. If you're struggling in any way in your life, applying these principles will definitely help if you can be rigorously honest. Again, like, share, subscribe, click the bell icon so you can get these videos. It's been a little bit since I did my last one. Work's been busy. I've had some other stresses come up in my life that my attention requires, but thus is life. And I realize it's been a while since I did this videos and I need to get back on track, so here I am talking about step 3. I want to do at least this one and maybe one more to wrap this up before we go into the big bad step 4. And if you've ever been in a 12-step program, you know the stigma behind step 4, and we'll get into that later. So if you didn't watch my video, the last one I did, the opener on step 3, please go back and watch it now and then come back to this one, because I am going to kind of continue. Not that I'm going to reference to the last video, but it will make a lot more sense if it's in order. So, come to believe that a power greater than myself can restore me to sanity. That was step 2. Now, becoming willing to turn my will and my life over to God as I understand Him. Now, I use the word God because I myself am a Christian. You do not have to be a Christian for this to apply. Please, please, please start there and know this. I know plenty of people that aren't, and this works. Okay? Now, that being said, there is a chapter in the Alcoholics Anonymous basic text called We Agnostics, and I referenced some of that in the last video. Now, I know a few atheists. I know people that come into the program and they are atheists and then they convert into some sort of faith, whatever that is. I know people, I actually know one in particular that I see on a regular basis today who came in as an atheist and he just celebrated 2 years. So you can apply this. If you go with the basic principle I referred to in the video prior to this, and that is, there is a God and you ain't it. Okay? There is a God and it's not me. Now I use the word God because, like I said, I am a Christian, but please, if you prefer the word spirit of the universe, higher power, whatever, creative intelligence, whatever you want to use, please, that is what I'm referring to. But to keep the video shorter and to get it out and get to my actual point, I use the word God, plus it is personal to me. So, please, I beg you, don't get wrapped up in the word, okay? Now, it's funny, I was in a meeting the other day, and one of the topic was the higher power deal and trying to quantify or put God in a box, as I say. Now, I want to just touch on this really quick and then move on to my actual point for the sake of the video. In my personal share, I referenced something to the effect of, when I first got clean and sober, I tried to put God in a box. So what do I mean by that? So I tried to define my higher power in case there was somebody that was going to, magically or spontaneously come up to me and ask me, hey, what's your higher power? Describe it to me. Okay, here's the thing. Nobody's ever done that. My sponsor at a point or two in my early recovery would ask me, in a vague way, or a question that led me to start, just to prove that I had a higher power. But he didn't want specifics. He didn't care. It's a personal thing to me. And I gotta say, that's the way it is. Even if you look into Christianity, for example, we can go to church, we can do the routines, we can do the prayers, we can do all the things in the morning and all this stuff, but it all comes down to a personal relationship with whatever higher power you choose. That's what it's all about. So please, I beg you, don't get caught up in the minutia, okay? So, moving on to what I wanted to talk about is further in the chapter We Agnostics. And I mentioned agnostics and atheists earlier, and I got to tell you, We agnostics, that chapter in the Alcoholics Anonymous based text really helped me to get to the point of, because I was a very science-minded guy and logic-based guy when I showed up, and it does a very good job of presenting that whole thing and applying some logic. So a couple things I got highlighted here and I wanted to share with you. Now, I was not prejudiced to religion coming in, so I didn't have that issue. And a lot of people that have that growing up, it's hard for them to get past that, to accept just the word God. In fact, the step says God, and that is off-putting to a lot of people. In this chapter, one of the things it says, we found as soon as we were able to lay aside our prejudice and express even a willingness to believe in a power greater than ourselves, we commenced to get results, even though it was impossible for any of us to fully define or comprehend that power, which is God. So, I mean, that right there says, okay, I'm going to get results if I'm even willing. So if you're struggling with finding the God or buying into the God thing, being willing and open-minded to this is huge. You start getting results then. And not only that, but it's a practice in taking open-mindedness and willingness to see other things in a different way. And this is the platform. This is the platform. You can't do step 2 without doing step 1. You can't do step 3 without doing step 2. And you can't move on to step 4, 5, 6, and all the others until you get good with step 3 to some degree. And again, we're not telling you to choose a God. I'm not suggesting that. It's become willing to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understand Him. What that basically says is I'm actually willing to allow this thing, which in step 2 can restore me to sanity. I've come to believe that. I'm willing to let this power take over. Okay, and I'm going to tell you, that is a huge struggle for me still today. Not so much in my sobriety, but in other things. I'm a bulldozer, man. I get things done. And when I beat my head up against the wall enough, I finally come to realize maybe I'm trying too hard. Maybe I'm trying to play God, like I did when I put God in a box, trying to define something I can't completely understand. I don't need to do that. I need to back off, let God do God's thing, and me do the next right indicated thing. Another thing I got highlighted here, we need to ask ourselves but one short question. Do I now believe, or am I willing to believe, that there is a power greater than myself? It's double checking. It's checking yourself for step 2. Huge. I mean, if you're not willing, and if you're not even willing to believe, you can't be willing to do any of this other stuff. So we got to start here. Later on, we agnostics and atheists were sticking to the idea that self-sufficiency would solve our problems. Okay, we've already proven that won't work. Go back to step 1. Moving forward. When we became alcoholics, this was the Alcoholics Basic Text, crushed by self-imposed crisis, we could not postpone or evade. We had to fearlessly face the proposition that either God is everything or else He is nothing. God either is or He isn't. What was our choice to be? So, I'm going to wrap up with that because this video is getting a little long, but I'm telling you, reason gets us so far, okay? But it's not enough. If it was, we wouldn't need this, okay? Please, I beg of you, at least be open-minded and willing, because like I said earlier, not only does this platform the springboard for the rest of the steps so that we can apply these in all our affairs, all of our life issues, it's a practice in willingness and open-mindedness. And there is a lot of that not happening these days in a lot of areas. It can only improve you. It can not hurt you, I promise. Iron Leprechaun out. Comment. Let's talk. Next video is coming up soon.